Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys some token analytics with Etherscan. Right, so we're going to learn some new things together, some new things that I've discovered as well. First, let's go to etherscan.io. Right. Firstly, I also found out how to toggle between day mode and night mode. So the night mode is over here. Over here. So if you click on it, there we go. Generally speaking, I usually use night mode, but I think it's easier to show people what I'm doing when it's on day mode, light mode. That not day mode, light mode. That's what I'm looking for. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at some token analytics, right? So I'm going to show you guys how to find some interesting features that is available on Etherscan. So let's take a very simple token. Let's take Tether, USDT Tether. So I'm going to find the contract code for Tether. It's here at the top. All the popular contracts are easy to find. And so from top down, you can see all the general information. What's the name of it, right? It's a stable coin, or it's an ERC20 token, right? Which is standard. Its price is $1, of course, because it's pegged to the dollar. Fully diluted market cap is a big number. Okay, you can read it for yourself. I don't even bother reading big numbers after some time because it's just too many places behind. How many holders? There are 3 million plus holders in the world. A lot of transfers as well. This is the contract code, 6 decimal places, official website, and social profile. So if you're looking at a contract and you want to know whether this contract is legitimate, usually scam contracts will not have extensive social profiles, neither will they have an official site. Well, they might have an official page, but it will look terrible or it will look very, very brief and not have anything like a roadmap or proper website. So, and of course, they've got all the stuff here, clear. And here you see the transfers, all the transactions which are happening, the past 35 seconds, and so on and so forth, right? So there are lots of transaction records. We're not going to go through them. What instead I'm going to show all of you is how to look at some in-depth things. So let's look at this, right? Holders. So Etherscan actually shows us how many holders there are, right? So that's the first thing we're going to look at, token holders. Right, and what can we learn about these token holders? Well, firstly, we can see the addresses. So all the addresses are here. Now, of course, if they're using an exchange like Binance and Huobi, you won't know the exact address, right? Exchanges, they use their own addresses, so we won't know the individuals who are behind these addresses. They're just the exchange itself. But here we can see the individual addresses, right, of holders. Now we can also see how much Tether they're holding and as a percentage value of how much they are in comparison to all the other holders. So this person, right, whoever this person is, holds 5.9% of all the Tether in the world. That's a lot, right? The entire value is a lot. Was that 1,838,455,916? That's a lot. $1 trillion worth, right, of Tether. And what I really found interesting was that rather than look at all these numbers, it's a lot easier to visualize it as a chart. And so Etherscan has this wonderful chart function. So yeah, click on it. Yeah, there we go. So it's going to display a chart, and I think this is really a lot easier to visualize, right? All the Tether holders in the world chart. Now, when you look at the other accounts, these are just all the other accounts which are not displayed here. These are just showing me the top 100. So I can actually change this, and I will change it in a moment. But let's read this first. So we can see earlier we looked at this account. He's got this amount of tokens, 5.9477%. Let's look at this, and we can see that 5.9477. Right. So this chunk here represents the top holder of Tether in the world. Don't know who that person is, whoever it is, got a lot, right? So, yeah. Oh, it's actually a contract address, not a person, right? So this actually means that it's being held by a contract address. Let's look at that contract address. So that's not an individual. This would be an individual, for example, probably an individual's token address. So this is actually the contract address itself, right? If I'm not mistaken. Okay, so slight mistake there. It's not a person. This is actually a contract address. Better example would be like this or this, right? So this would be an individual's wallet account. Right? So and top 100, you can even go top 500, right? But it's going to divide this into really tiny slices. Okay, give it a moment to load. Yeah, so it takes a while to load, and you can see all the slices are so thin that they're basically just white in color. Here, the good thing here, however, is that even if you look at the top 100, the good thing is that in order for, usually good projects have a very well distributed amount of tokens, right? So you can see here that even the top owners, not a single individual can control the market share. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. If it is a scam, likely the top 3 or top 5 people are going to be holding the most tokens, and that's usually a red flag when it comes to scams. So that's pretty interesting. We've learned about that. So we can see the pie chart of token allocation. Okay, scam projects. I'm going to watch out for that. Usually, top holders have more than 50% of the token balance, and that's a problem because if a single individual has more than 50%, they can dump and just destroy the market. We don't want that to happen, right? So this helps us visually immediately see, how the token's doing. Okay, let's go back to the. Let's go back out of here. Okay, yeah. All right, so that was holders. Now let's go to info. Info is just a very general page where people can provide information about the token. This one's being taken by from CoinMarketCap. Tether gives you joint benefits of open blockchain technology and traditional currency by converting your cash into stable digital currency equivalent, right? So people can, deposit their cash in Tether and receive USDT equivalent. Right? So just some basic stats here on volume in the past 24 hours, market cap, and circulating supply. This will be updated by CoinMarketCap. I assume they pull an API from there. Okay. Exchange. So let's look at the exchanges which are trading. Right. Before I forget that, we can look at info. This just gives some general brief info. Usually pulled from another site. In this case, CoinMarketCap. Okay. Exchanges. These are going to be showing us the exchanges which are trading. Now, these are centralized exchanges. Later, I'll show you decentralized ones. And you can see on Binance, so we've got this pair, BTC USDT, right? Very popular pair to trade, but only accounts for a small amount of volume, right? 0.0012. Let's look at the one with the bigger volume. Okay, 1% of volume traded is on Binance as well. AXS USDT. Okay, that's not surprising because AXS is extremely bullish right now. I myself do play Axie Infinity, so that's pretty bullish, and that's why a lot of trading is happening for the AXS and USDT pair for this token. Another popular one is BUSD USDT, right? BUSD is Binance's own stablecoin, and so that's a very popular stablecoin pair as well on Binance. It's accounting for a lot of volume for trade, and the rest are pretty small. 36% is pretty high. Doge USDT, okay, I have no comment there. Unfortunately, yeah, a lot of people trade Doge. That's fine, if you like it. So the exchange shows us how active the tokens are being used in different exchanges, right? So obviously, if it's a scam token, it's probably just going to be on maybe not even on an exchange, right? You may not even find scam tokens listed on exchanges, right? So that's an important thing. When you have the exchange, right? So good tokens, lots of activity, and lots of exchanges. It's listed a lot of places, and scam tokens are oftentimes not on centralized exchanges, right? So even if you don't like centralized exchanges, they usually kind of help protect you against scam tokens, right? Or rug pulls. Now let's look at the decentralized exchanges. Okay. Oh no, before that, I forgot one more thing. You can actually look for opportunities for arbitrage. Well, I think I can show you on the DEX section as well. Arbitrage opportunities. Obviously not going to be very useful with Tether, but because there's not much price difference between exchanges. But if you find a token that does give you that level of difference, then you can get some good arbitrage. But maybe I'll show you that with a different example. So I'll just write it there. Can find arbitrage opportunities. I spelled that wrongly. Arbitrage. Right. Before I go there, let me just show you what I mean by that. So obviously here, in this pair it's $1, in this pair it's 99 cents, right? So if you could find a token that was very different, 99.8, and then if you had, honestly, if you had millions of dollars and you profit from this 1 cent difference between exchanges, you might make some decent money, right? If you had a lot of money, obviously you want a token that fluctuates with more volatility between exchanges, and if you find a price difference, you could exploit that between different exchanges, right? So buy it slightly cheaper at one exchange, sell it for more expensive at the other one, right? So yeah, you could do that if you wanted to. Okay, let's go back to the DEXs. So we can also look at the decentralized exchanges or DEXs. So under DEXs, what we have here is these are obviously decentralized, right, as the name suggests. So, I mean, because they're decentralized, anybody can list anything, right? So oftentimes scam tokens are listed easily here, but obviously we're dealing with Tether at the top. So what are the DEXs? Uniswap v3, Uniswap v2, so on and so forth. You've got also SushiSwap. I'm not sure what this one is, unknown. SushiSwap, Uniswap. So that's great. Just be aware that anybody can list on a DEX, right? So anyone can list a token DEX. So just be aware of that. But looking at the transaction volumes, yeah, we'll tell you that whether there's a lot of activity and so on and so forth going on. Let's go to the contract. Okay, so this is the contract. I can't see the actual code, right? So they don't show us. Do they show us the contract? Okay, it might be here. I think I'll open this. So if I go to this contract part over here, I click on this and I want to open the contract code. Can I see the contract itself? Yes, I can. Okay, so there we go. This is the contract code in Solidity, right? Obviously, I don't read Solidity much, but for the programmers out there, that's where you find it. What I am at the contract tracker, right? So I'm at the tracker, which is this page over here. This is a lot more brief. You can just read and write on the contract. I don't know if you can write. Can you write? Okay, I think you can, yeah. But I'm going to show you how to read contracts. A very simple way is you look at balance off, right? So this is the easiest one that I know of, which is balance off. What it's basically saying is that this allows you to find out the balance of anybody's address. So let's say, for example, I open my MetaMask and I copy my address to the clipboard. And now I don't have any Tether, so it should say 0. I'm going to click query right over here. It should say 0, and it does say 0, right? Because I don't have any Tether in my MetaMask at the moment. If you had any, you can use this method, type it in, and you should see your amount. Now, to double check that I'm not lying, you can go to the holders, right? And let's find a random address. Okay, so this guy, okay. 100487066. I'm going to copy his address. And I should see 100487066. Let's go to contract, read. Let's find the balance off over here. Type in the contract address, click query, and what does it show me? 100487066. You can ignore the zeros at the back. That's just how Solidity displays it. But that's essentially how much Tether this person has, right? Which is exactly what you saw in the earlier on the other page, right? So this is a way that you can check how much the balance is. All right, without going through a UI, you can just do it from the back end itself. You can also do it from this page, right? Read contract. It's the same thing. Balance off, paste the address, and you will get 10047, right? It's the same thing, right? Same page. Just that this one shows you the actual contract code in Solidity. I won't be talking about that today. What else can you do? Write. I'm not so familiar with writing to the contract, so I'm not going to be showing you that. Maybe in a future video. Analytics. What can we look at in terms of analytics? Oh, before I forget, you can contract. You can check balance of any address. Balance in any address. Okay. You can also rewrite. I'm not so familiar with contracts yet. This is an interesting function that I found out today. So you can look at the analytics of this token, right? When it comes to USDT, over 1 year it looks a bit messy, so I'm just going to go 1 month, right? Just to show you 1 month what the different numbers means. It looks like a lot of stuff here. So what I do is at the bottom here, I found out you can actually click on each of them and take them out. So it's empty, and this is a lot easier for explaining to people. So I'm just going to click transfer amount, right? Very simple. This is the amount of USDT that's being transferred. Okay, transfer around. So you can see there's a lot of transfers happening, and then sometimes it goes down, it goes up, almost like a wave, right? Transfers count. Okay, how many transfers were done? So the previous one is the amount of USDT that was transferred. This is the number of transfers. So a person could do 3 transfers but transfer $1 million, or they could do 100 transfers and transfer $1 million, right? So logically it should follow the graph, and it kind of does, as you can see. But there's an interesting difference. You can see here, right? There's a difference. So on this one, on this one, right? On this one, the blue color line and the black color line intersect over here. So number of transfers was 184,959. Those are the number of transfers done. the amount of USDT is listed there, right? Whereas here, the amount of USDT is about almost the same, right? But the number of transfers were increased, right? So just because it goes up doesn't mean the amount of money goes up as well, or rather the amount of USDT goes up. It depends on how much people are transferring. You can also see unique receivers. So unique, I think this is unique wallets which are receiving it, right? Or total uniques is basically receivers and senders, right? Generally speaking, if the trend is increasing, it means that there are more users who are coming into the market and using USDT. And you can see it pretty much follows. Of course, this is just a 1 month trend. You can also look at it over 1 year, right? I don't analyze the finer details of this. The only thing I saw which was interesting was these interesting peaks, right, over a 6-month period. Suddenly a lot of USDT was being transferred, more than the usual amounts, right? These are all the average amounts, and then suddenly these 3 really tall peaks. Why that was happening, Etherscan can't tell you. Probably some other factors in the market. So a lot of whales doing a lot of trading on those days, perhaps, so on and so forth, right? So it's pretty interesting. So yeah, you can look at analytics, find things like transfer amount, transfer count, which are fairly easy, and unique addresses, etc. Okay, so you can look at those. Visually, it's a lot easier to see, and you can also change the timelines. Historical prices are also available. So obviously, there's not going to be much information here because the price of USDT is meant. So excuse me, that's a terrible drawing. It's meant to be pegged to the dollar, right? So $1 over here, it's meant to be pegged, so it should follow the line. Some volatility, a lot of volatility over here. I wonder what's happening on July 21st. But the peg doesn't really change much, right? It closed at 121.22, so went up by 22 cents. There's a good opportunity for how do I get it there? A good opportunity for arbitrage if you could get in, right? But it disappears quite quickly, right? Because USDT is meant to be pegged. You can even see the ICO price. Okay, the ICO price was 0. Was it 0? Okay, the ICO price of USDT was 0. I don't think it was. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure about the ICO price, but I'm assuming if you had a token with the ICO price of a few cents, then you can see the difference and the ROI since ICO, right? Okay, that also allows you to remove and add according to the chart. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so you can also look at historical prices. And last but not the least, you have comments, which to me are pretty useless. I think you don't really get much useful information from this. It's just people putting whatever they want. Let's leave it on God. Okay, that's great. That's great. Where can I buy it? Please return the USDT to me. You stole my assets. You're a liar. Okay, so Etherscan does not steal assets. Etherscan is just a blockchain explorer. It allows you to explore stuff here. But comments are pretty useless in my opinion. Useless, not such a nice word. Pretty meaningless in my opinion. Right? They don't really give you much information. Just anybody can join the discussion and add some comments, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, so these are some of the interesting functions you can get from the token tracker. Right? Remember, it's not the token contract. This is the contract. So the contract page looks like this. Right? What I was on, and you can see a lot of different pieces of information here, right? What I was on actually the token tracker page, right? So it's usually referred to as tracker, right? So that's pretty straightforward. These are other things and different ways of looking at it, which I might cover in another video. What I want to look at is now, let's see what a scam token might look like, right? So let's look at Dogecoin. Okay, there's no Dogecoin. Let's look at another Doge scam. Okay, Doge token. Okay, let's look at that. Dogecoin has its own blockchain. It's not on Ethereum's blockchain. So Doge token, this is obviously, in my opinion, I don't even have to look at it. I probably know it's a scam, right? Max total supply. Look at that supply. It's okay. Oh no, it's not as large as I thought. 121,000, 129. Okay, that doesn't really make sense to me. Okay, but anyway, 26 holders. Yeah, so if only 26 people hold this, doesn't really mean anything. 46 transfers in its history, 18 decimals, contract code is there. Official site, let's look at the official site just for fun. Doge token, okay, yeah. So if you look at a site like this, honestly, yeah, it's not going to be not useful in the least. Okay, it's actually on BSC. Is it on BSC? It says ERC20. Could be wrong. Anyway, but it functions the same way. You can see the last transfer was 75 days ago, but basically no activity, right? So let's look at the holders, right? You can see one holder holds 34%, another one 14, another one 12. So, a few holders hold most of the tokens, right? You can actually look at the token holder chart. As I showed you guys on the pie chart, you can see that 1, 2, 3, right? These 3 people already hold more than 50%. So this is a big no-no in cryptocurrency, right? You don't want only a few people holding a lot of tokens, unless there's something like a vested schedule where it's like developers and the tokens are locked, but just the name itself tells me that this is obviously a scam, right? Top 100 holders collectively own all 100%. Okay, that's great. Token supply, token holders, but they're only 26, so they're not even top 100, right? It's just 26 token holders, right? That's all of them. That's it. These 2 people hold 0.00001, right, which is a meaningless amount, right? I'm going to copy this so that we can look at it later on the analytics side. Okay. So let's go back and info. What does it say? Doge token is honoring Dogecoin, the fun and friendly internet currency. Doge token is not Dogecoin. Okay, yeah. Well, that's really not much to go by. DEX trades. So notice there's no exchange, right? There's no exchanges here, right? Why? Why are there no exchanges? Because obviously, no exchange is going to list a stupid token, right? So the exchanges are trying to protect people. But as I said earlier, decentralized exchanges, it's a free market for all. It's listed on Ether Delta. I've not used this exchange before. Uniswap is a common one. Ether Delta. You can see a few buys, and then after that it's just sell. So it's probably just a big scam. Right, anything that looks like that is just a scam, right? Just look at the buy and sells, right? I forgot to add that in. So under DEXs, you can see buy and sell activity. So you want to see whether there's a lot of activity going on. Here there isn't much. Contract. So as I said, you can read the contract. You can go to balance off, click the address. I put in this address from just now. It should be 42,001. Right, 42,001, right? Just look at that. Ignore the other zeros, that's just the decimal places which Solidity displays numbers as. I won't go into the others. Analytics, what are the analytics? What are the analytics that I can show here? Right, so let's look at the past 1 month, basically nothing, right? For 1 year, you can see 1, 2, 3 peaks and then nothing else, absolutely nothing, right? So there's no movement, no transactions, nothing. Literally nothing is happening here. So these are the things you don't have to invest in. Comments, I don't think there are any comments. Just one. That's pretty useless. But yeah, so before you buy anything, make sure you check the tokens and see what the activity is like to see whether it's worth your time investing or not. Okay, so yeah, that's a general overview, looking at some of the analytics that you can get. Right, so we looked at comments, not that useful. Analytics like transfer amount, contract, you can check the balance of any wallets. Decentralized exchanges, how much activity is going on in the exchanges, right? You can also check some general info and also who the token holders are. I think this is very important, right? The pie chart, especially of token allocation, you want to know who's holding the tokens, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something new from Etherscan.